How is it going, you guys? This is Primetime Warthunder coming to you guys with another video. Now, it's been a minute since I last posted a long format video. As you guys can probably tell, I've mostly been posting shorts lately. But in this video, we are going to be trying to answer one very important question. Is the Su-30, the Russian premium flanker, still an OP plane in 2026? Now, not to drag it out too long, but yes, this plane is still, in fact, very OP. In the hands of a new pilot, let's say, it's not going to be the best because you're not going to know how to dodge Fox 3s that well. You're not going to be able to do that well because you're not going to be too used to top tier gameplay or jet gameplay in general. So if you're brand new, I wouldn't recommend just going out and buying this plane thinking that you're just going to automatically start winning. In the hands of a decent pilot, it can be very good. It can positively impact the team. In the hands of a good pilot, it can absolutely help the team out even more. You will absolutely get good experiences from it. And in the hands of an experienced pilot, it is an amazing plane because you will absolutely dominate the field. Now, I would say I am a good pilot right there. Right there, as you guys can see, my Stellinium A-frame definitely saved me from that missile that just came out of nowhere from that Mirage 2000. But I consider myself a decent pilot, where I can get a good amount of kills, especially with this plane. But I do still have my off days where I just have a stroke of bad luck for whatever reason. But yeah, so as you guys can see in that first match, I did only get 3 kills because I ended up compressing and I couldn't pull up and went straight into that trees. And that's exactly what I mean, that a brand new player that has no experience with top tier or jet gameplay in general should not be using this plane, because you're not gonna know that if you're going too fast or too steep of an angle, that you're gonna compress and you're not gonna be able to pull up in time. They're not gonna know, that if you pull too hard right here, that you're just gonna lose control like I did right there. But luckily, I have a pretty experienced and advanced crew, so it wasn't that bad for me. And right there, I ended up switching to IR missiles, as you guys can see, to make it so that the F-18 didn't know I launched at him. And then I quickly switched back to the Fox 3s and sent it at the JH-7A. And as you guys can see, I also got a little bit of goodies from it as well. Got some munitions from that because he was trying to damage that base. Some of his bombs did manage to get through, but as you guys can see, the last 2 games that we had, I got 4 kills in all of those, and I probably could have got a lot more if I was a little bit more aggressive. I was honestly being a little more careful, just trying to make sure that I survived. But someone that's more aggressive might get more kills, and but that's if you know how to survive the fur balls a lot better than I do. I can survive them, but I'm not the best at it. As you guys can see right there, I launched off every single one of my Fox 3s, and 3 of them ended up connecting. And managed to avoid all their missiles. Someone that's not that experienced might ended up just flying straight at them, and just ended up eating a M120 or a 7P to the face. And now right here, I try to send a R73 at this F-14D, but someone else's R73 manages to get there before mine does, so I don't get that kill. But it's okay because I'm already at 3 right now. And now we see that one of our teammates asked for help, so trying to find out where he is. There he is. I see him right there. It's that F-18 Relax El Bart. He's being chased by the F-20, and I do see a MiG-29 right here and off to the left, and I do kind of consider going after that MiG-29 instead because it's a lot closer. But I saw that there was a couple of friendlies on it, so I figured I'll ignore it. Now, I didn't mean to type that in all caps. I didn't realize that I had caps lock enabled, and most of the time I found that if I start typing and then I backspace, something like this will happen where a plane would just pop out of nowhere and then I'll kind of be stuck. So I just went along with it, but I wasn't screaming, I promise. My bad, guy. And now right there, as you guys can see, I did come across that F-18. I launched an R73 at it, and because I was using track IR, I feel like that's probably why that missile tracked it a lot better, because I honestly thought that missile had missed. Now, unfortunately, the guy that we were trying to save does end up getting taken out by a friendly, and on top of that, it is another premium Su-30 that ends up taking it out. But he does kind of end up redeeming himself, I guess you could say, by taking out the F-20 that we were trying to take out. And as you guys can see, the match ends, and once again, I got 4 kills. Now, this is going to be the last match, and this one is definitely a good match. I do end up getting a really good result in this plane. So just going through the radar modes, I'm actually trying to look for search pulse Doppler head-on. Personally, that's what I like to use when it comes to Fox 3s. I know the majority of people use TWS because they like the stealthiness of TWS, but I just don't trust it, because there'll be so many times where TWS will give me a lock and it'll swear that it's a radar lock, that there's something there. I'll launch a missile at it, and I'm just like looking at that missile get closer and closer, and I'm like, why can't I see the plane? And it turns out that it was nothing, that it was somehow tracking nothing. It was tracking air, or who knows what it was tracking. But so that's why personally I just used a hard radar lock. It gives away the position, everything. It gives them a radar warning lock, but it is what it is. It's just what works for me. So now, as you guys can see right there, I already got a kill right there, and now we're gonna go around, search for some more enemies, see who else we can find. And I do switch a lot between HMS and just regular search modes, because when you're in HMS, obviously you're only searching in the area that you can see, unless I see an enemy that's within the range of HMS. And if, for those of you that don't know, if you look at the top right hand corner of my radar where it says HMS PD, where it says 20 kilometers, that is the limit of the radar for the helmet mounted sights. So as long as they're within 20 kilometers, I can tag them with it. And I end up sending a RBV at this F-16 right there, but unfortunately it ends up going into the trees. But he's too close to me, he's not going fast enough, and he doesn't notch or do anything. So I end up getting him with a Fox 3 to the ass. He knew that was coming because he was getting that radar lock, and he just decided to do nothing about it because he was tunnel visioned on the friendly that was in front of him. So, well, my friendly that was in front of him, not his friendly. Now, as you guys can see, chasing down this F-15, and be careful for when you're getting track AAA. For those of you that don't know, that means anti-air artillery is tracking you with radar and can hit you if you are not being safe. Like, as you guys can see, they sent that burst at me, and if I had just continued to fly straight, that might have got me. I've actually have been hit by the ground-based AAA, and now while it didn't take me out, it did damage me to the point that I had to go back to base and repair. I do find that F-15 again, and fortunate for him, he's not going fast enough. Once again, he's not being defensive. Here's the thing about the F-15, and this is a tactic that I use regularly when it comes to a Fox 3. The F-15 has incredibly powerful engines. You can literally just turn the plane around to have the missile on your ass, and you can just outrun that missile. You have to already be going kind of fast, obviously, because if you're starting out in not an afterburner and then you try that, well, unfortunately you're just going too slow and it will catch you, especially if you don't try anything to at least counter it, deploying chaff, notching, etc., etc. But if you're already going fast, you can literally just turn that plane around and just outrun the missile. It's a tactic that I use every single time with the F-15, and I would say about 9 out of 10 times it works. There's only that one time where there just happens to be, or like, well, more like, let's say 7 out of 10 times, just to be a little bit more conservative. There's just like every now and then there's those one few times where there's someone to my right or left that I just didn't notice for whatever, and for some reason it's always a Refuel, and it shoots a Mika at me, and Mikas are just incredibly dangerous at close range, and that's when they happen to see me and shoot that Mika at me, and then there's just nothing I can do about it, unfortunately, because it's too late by that point for me. But you know, that's kind of a rare situation. Most of the time, it doesn't matter whether it's an R77, whether it's an R77-1, whether it's a RVB, whether it's an AIM-120. It doesn't matter what missile it is. If I don't know what I just shot right there. To be honest, my mouse is kind of really sensitive, so sometimes that happens, which kind of sucks. But it doesn't matter what missile it is. You can literally just turn the F-15 around and outrun any missile. Now, there's two F-15s right there that I just showed where they clearly didn't know to do that, but at least that last F-15E at least looked like it was trying to notch, but it just couldn't. Now, this part I'm showing you guys for a very specific reason. It's just normally the parts where I'm just landing back at the airbase to rearm, repair, and refuel. I either just fast forward through it or I skip it altogether. But you are about to see why I left this part in, because it is a very important part to this video. So, as you guys can see, I make the touchdown, and personally, normally I go to the protected airfield just because I want the AA protection. But right as you guys can see, I only had a minute and a half left of fuel. Now, I probably could have made it there with that much fuel left, especially because of the speed I was going pretty fast, and I'm not that far from it. And there it is. There was a J37 Jazz 37 behind me chasing me, and it ended up sending a RV 74 at me. It hit me, but my selenium airframe made it so I didn't die. I'm actually repairing right now, and he tried to do a gun run at me, but he was going a little too fast. He couldn't pull up in time, and he crashed into the airfield, and I got a kill for it. And you know, I just had to be a little cheeky right there with the ha. Because now he was the second to last guy on their team that was left, and now it is a 2-on-1 match with an F-16 that is left. I managed to follow him in the map to where the square was indicating that he was, and then as you guys can see, we had a blind hunt activated. And the reason why I sent two missiles at him is because of that previous F-16 where that first one didn't make it. I didn't think I was gonna make it because of how far away it was, but it did, luckily. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. As you guys can see, the Su-30 is still a very OP plane, and in the hands of a right pilot, it is absolutely deadly. Please like, share, and subscribe, and stick around for more. Peace.